We're at Denali Park 2020. There's a bear crossing the road.
That's a small bear.
Small grizzly bear.
Can't get him now. I'm at the wrong angle. Hey, 30-06 John here, and today what we're going to be talking about are the top 10 bear guns, what the pros actually use. Yeah, there's a lot of information out there about what bear guns to use, but what I'm counting here are what I've seen in my 40 years in Alaska, what bear guides, assistant guides, bear guards, and people that work in the outdoors actually use. So keep watching. I hope you enjoy the video. If you like this type of content, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. Most guides and assistant guides, they use bolt action rifles. They usually get something with a controlled round feeding, not really a sliding extractor. Also, a lot of them, they use factory ammo. They do very little reloading themselves. There's a liability issue there when you're guiding. So a lot of guys, they use factory ammo. And that does affect the choice of what cartridge that they get. The 9.3 by 62 is a very old cartridge, created right after World War I. It's been used in Europe and in Africa for many years. It's basically similar to a 30-06 case that has been blown out and necked up to 9.3 caliber. It's only about a 1 or 2 steps behind a 375 H&H, but it's the same cartridge overall length as a 30-06. There are numerous bear guides in Alaska using the 9.3 by 62. Nice cartridge. There's plenty of factory ammunition made for this cartridge. It's loaded by Nosler, Norma, Federal, Swift, Hornady, Federal. Yeah, the 30-06 makes the list. A lot of people don't think it's a real bear stopping cartridge, but properly loaded, it works fine. This cartridge right here is loaded with a Hornady 220 grain round nose interlock. They work pretty good. You can also get 220 grain round noses in Nosler partitions. And if you want a bear stopping round, they're actually pretty good. I know several of my friends have gotten grizzlies with the 30-06, and it works pretty good. You do need to use a premium bullet, a heavy bullet like this 220 grain interlock, or a 180 grain Nosler partition, or even these Barnes 180 grain Barnes triple shocks. Excellent bullet for a 30-06. There's a lot of different factory ammo choices out there, so you can get the factory ammo loaded with these types of bullets. The 458 Win Mag is a very powerful cartridge. It was more popular years back, but it's still used a lot for bear guiding. The guns are starting to get a little bit hard to find. Ruger doesn't make them anymore. I think Winchester is really the only manufacturer for rifles anymore. CZ stopped making their rifles. So people that have the 458 Win Mags, they're hanging on to them. The 416 Remington Magnum, it's basically a blown out, necked up 375 H&H case. Fits in the same length action. It gives you more throw weight than the 375 H&H, sort of the same velocity. 416 Rem Mag is actually loaded by a fair amount of companies. Nosler, Barnes, Hornady, Swift, Federal. Pretty popular around. Sort of proven itself over the years. The 338 Win Mag is a very popular cartridge in Alaska. Not quite as popular as it used to be, but it's still a very popular cartridge. Shoots flat enough for the longer range shots, but also has enough throw weight for bears. I've shot in a lot of game in Alaska with a 338. When I went to Africa, I took a 338 Win Mag. For bears, you want to use a controlled expansion bullet, like this 250 grain Nosler partition, or a Barnes triple shock, or Swift A-frame. A lot of people call the 338 Win Mag the ideal Alaska caliber. Yeah, here's one of my 338 Win Mags. Been a good rifle, shot a lot of game with it. So before we get to the top 5 bear guns, let's take a minute and talk about honorable mentions. The AR platform, they are chambered in some cartridges that could be used for bears. This is a 450 Bushmaster. It's a good cartridge. I did hear recently that Anchorage Police Department is starting to carry AR-15s in 450 Bushmaster. Years ago, they used to take a M1 Grand and rechamber it for 35 Whelen. That never caught on. So I'm not sure if an AR platform in a 450 Bushmaster or a 458 SOCOM will ever catch on. Most people, they want something very simple and reliable. They end up using a bolt gun or lever gun or a pump action. The 35 Whelen is a pretty useful cartridge. It was pretty popular in Alaska for a while, and I still know some people using a 35 Whelen. The big problem with the 35 Whelen is that there's very little factory ammo that's good for bears. So that's why the 35 Whelen doesn't make the list. Also, not many guys use a 35 Whelen because of the limited factory ammo. The 375 Ruger is ballistically the same as the 375 H&H, actually a little bit more powerful. But what hurts it is that there's just very little factory ammo out there for it. The Benelli shotgun is used by some bear guards that I know. They have shot a couple of grizzlies with it. The Benelli M4 has its roots in a military. I think the U.S. Marines use the M4. So it's a good shotgun. But as all shotguns, it's very ammo dependent. And everyone who uses a shotgun professionally that I know of, they use Brennecke slugs. Here's the Brennecke slugs that from the Midway USA website. The Brennecke slugs are different from a normal slug, like a Foster type slug. These are solid, hard cast lead, where the Foster is sort of like a cup shape. It's hollow in the back of it. The Brenneckes have worked very well on brown bears. Everyone who uses them and who has shot bears with them are very happy with the Brennecke slugs. There's just something about a lever action rifle, it being a big bore like a 45-70, just makes it that much more useful and fun. The lever action 45-70 is in pretty widespread use throughout the state for bear protection. from various guides, fishing guides, tour guides for photographers, bear guards, things like that. A lot of different ammo out there. You do have to make sure that you get the proper ammunition for bear defense. My lever action here is actually a 450 Marlin, ballistically the same as a heavy loaded 4570, but there's just something about a lever action gun. Rack the bolt there. I have a Leopold VX3 1.5-5, excellent bear scope. A lot of bear guides use this scope on their rifles. Works good. The 300 Winchester Magnum is one of the most popular magnums in the world. With the right loads, it is adequate for bears. It is very popular in Alaska. A lot of different rifle manufacturers chamber a rifle in a 300 Winchester Magnum. It's been proven many years over. So you'll see a lot of bear guides and assistant guides using a 300 Winchester Magnum. With proper loads, that's a fine rifle and cartridge. Once again, factory ammo should be loaded with premium controlled expansion bullets, the partitions, the Barnes triple shocks, these Swift A-frames, something like that. The 12 gauge pump shotgun is very popular. Once again, you need to use Brennecke slugs. These are hard cast lead, solid lead, as opposed to these Foster style slugs. These are good for deer, probably black bear, but not for brown bear. I talked to the Alaska Department of Fish and Game personnel in Anchorage, the group that actually deals with the problem bears in Anchorage and has to kill them. They do use 12 gauge Remington 870 pump shotguns with Brennecke slugs. Works good for them. The 375 H&H Magnum is the #1 bear gun in Alaska. Numerous bear guides and assistant guides use it. Some bear guards use it. It has an international following. It's been around for 100 years. Plenty of ammo out there for it. So it's in widespread use. You could get firearms from Winchester or Browning. The Winchester Model 70, which is actually made in Japan now, is a classic bolt action rifle for 375 H&H. Has controlled round feeding, which a lot of people want. So that's a typical bear gun that a lot of bear guides and assistant guides use.